Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christie, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy, the recap. I am so excited to just spend a little time with you all today and to talk a little bit about time management, because that's what both of my guests talked about this week. I had Peggy Sullivan and Skip Willcox, both of which are fabulous keynote speakers and coaches, I guess, for lack of a better term, who help people figure out how to find time and to not be so busy that they think they're eating stale pistachios and they're actually eating cat food. That's what Peggy Sullivan did. That was her wake-up call. And so in both instances, these folks talked about the importance of time management. Now, we know that time management is super important, of course, and we know that we need to be thoughtful about how we spend our time. And yet, the knowing-doing gap is a chasm. We struggle as humans to say, you know what? No, I am going to focus on this thing for this amount of time, and then I'm going to move on to the next thing. Instead, we're always multitasking, which doesn't actually accomplish anything. We are always looking for more time. If I just had time, if I just had time. And the reality is that we're stealing our own moments. So when I decided I wanted to get my doctorate, my children were in high school, and I'm married full time and love my husband and want to spend time with him. I had twins who were doing all the things at school, whether it was cross country or track or whatever else they were involved in. And then I had a full-time job that involved a lot of travel. And then I decided to go back to school full-time to get my doctorate. To say I didn't have time felt accurate. And yet somehow in those 3 years, I actually found time. And it was because I learned to steal moments. So that's what I want to encourage you with today, is that whether you have all those things on your plate or just a few or anywhere in between, you can steal moments. You don't have to have full days to get things done. Instead, you have to figure out, okay, how long is this going to take me? And then what can I do right now, today, this day to make it happen? What we don't tend to do very well is figure out how long something might actually take us. And the reality is it takes us a different amount of time if we're in different zones in our brain. If we're our freshest, we can get something done in 15 minutes, but that same exact thing, if we are in a red zone in our day, can take us 5 times as long. Nobody has time for that. So how do we block our day in a way that would allow us to get the things done we need to get done and get them done well? Well, one of the things that I teach on is that kind of time management. What's your red, yellow, and green zones, and how can we make sure that you're capitalizing on the green zones? And one of the ways that that happens is through conversation around power sessions and time blocking. So power sessions are really a 30-minute chunk of time where you are incredibly intentional about what you're going to do with that time, and then you celebrate at the end. My favorite part of a power session is the celebration. We tend to knock things off of our to-do list and never celebrate. So fun fact, Miss Knuckles, Babette Knuckles, was my high school biology teacher. I thought this woman was the coolest human on the planet. She wore charm bracelets, which I thought was so cool that I had to have one myself. And she was just always so real. One of my favorite things that she used to do that I still do to this day, and I don't care to admit how many years ago high school was, but she would write a to-do list on her desk. She always had a running to-do list. And then when something was done, she would mark it off real carefully with little lines and little lines going the other way so that it was pretty when it got marked off. I love to do that. As a matter of fact, sometimes I rewrite my to-do list just so that I can do that. It is this satisfying, I did what I set out to do kind of moment. And I don't know what works for you. That works for me. Is there a more effective way to do a to-do list? I am sure. And is there a digital way? 100%. But I need the satisfaction of knowing that I can mark it off the list. What works for you? Have you found it yet? If you haven't, what's stopping you and how can I help? This is the kind of thing that I sit down with people and talk about all the time, whether it's individuals or organizations. The intentionality group really helps people get intentional with their time and their energy and their effort, because I don't think there's a person on this planet who wakes up in the morning and says, I want to be terrible at my job today. And yet, oh my gosh, we've got some people who are pretty terrible at their jobs. And it's not because they're bad people, and it's not because they don't want to be good. They just haven't been given the right tools. So, some of those tools include that time management piece. Skip talked about outpacing people. And what he means by that, outpace is an acronym. It stands for organization, understanding and empathy, time management, positivity, active listening or adaptability. He switches those out. Controlling emotions and education. Now, that's a lot to remember, but I asked him which one tends to get people tripped up the most. And he said it was time management. So that's what I want to encourage you to take away from today. Maybe it's that you need to block your day differently. Maybe you are super productive in the morning and that's when your green zone happens. So what are you doing with your time in the mornings? Is that when you're, doing something that you could do when you're not at your sharpest? Like vacuuming or making beds? Could you focus on the work stuff that you really need to get done and get done well first while you're your freshest? Or maybe you're your freshest late at night. What are you doing with that time? Are you scrolling on your phone and watching movies? Or are you actually knocking some stuff out? So I told you that my dissertation time, like when I was getting my doctorate, was done in the middle of the busiest phase of life. My kids were juniors in high school when I graduated with my doctorate in educational leadership. And when I finished, I was like, what am I supposed to do with all of my time? I all of a sudden had freedom to do other things. Now, I filled it real quickly with multiple jobs. I think actually right now I have 5 actual jobs that I do on a consistent basis. And so, why is that? Because I steal moments. So, here's my challenge. Find some moments to steal today. Look at your day and say, where can I steal 15 minutes? And what will I do with the 15 minutes that I steal? I used to make the mistake of putting on my calendar that I would do, schoolwork for an hour at this particular time. Problem with that is I wasn't specific. And without specificity, I kind of spun my wheels and went, I don't know what thing I should do right now. And then 15 minutes goes by and now I only have 45 minutes. So it's really about protecting that green zone time like a tiger and getting yourself to the point where you are focused enough to accomplish the thing instead of waiting for the thing to get accomplished, right? We often say, oh, I need 2 hours for that. Do you? Because it's probably something that would only take you 30 minutes if you were focused. So that's my challenge to you today, is to get a little more focused, to find something about your time that you can pare down, to celebrate the moments when you did the thing that you said you were going to do, and to just approach things a little differently so that you can outpace the competition. Thanks, Skip. I am so honored to have the opportunity to chat with you guys on the regular. And I really need you to let other people know that this is something worth listening to. I know I have some unbelievably faithful listeners out there who are constantly and consistently sending me messages that say, hey, Christie, I really appreciated this or that. Can you share it? Can you tell other people that you liked what you heard and that that thing helped you? Because the more we share, the more people will know that productive joy is a thing and that it's the kind of thing that gives you that free shot of B12. All right, today, this day, I challenge you to grab a nugget or two of wisdom. Maybe it's just to be reminded that time management's more in your control than you realize. And I need you to take that thing and figure out a way to turn fun into action.